doesn't want to work.
There we go.
All right.
Hey guys, Yoiston here with our 13th Westernesse podcast. I hope you all are doing well wherever you are in Middle-earth. I'm joined once again by our great friend Royan, and this time in person. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. We're on the same mic.
It's awesome. It's going to be so nice and easy to edit. Oh my gosh. All right, so this is, our 13th podcast. We're going to just jump right into the timeline of Middle-earth. And right now, as we're recording, the timeline project that we normally have going is closed. So we're going to use the Wikipedia timeline of Arda and the Lord of the Rings fandom.com Wikipedia timeline of Arda, which I will also link in the description below. So, 1st of May in 3018, Gandalf meets Aragorn at Sarnford, south of the Shire, to discuss Frodo's plans of leaving the Shire and being the ring bearer to Rivendell.
Our next May date comes a year later in 3019. Aragorn is crowned King Elisar of the reunited kingdoms of Arnor and Gondor.
And then May 20th, we have Arwen Undomiel and her father Elrond. They arrive in Lothlorien, where they're welcomed at Caras Galadhon by the Lady Galadriel and Lord Celeborn, and who are Arwen's grandparents. And this is on their way. They were going to eventually head to Gondor, so Aragorn and Arwen could be wed. And that's honestly it for this month.
There's Sam.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, so the last date we have is
that's right.
In 3020, so a year after Aragorn's coronation. On the day, May 1st, Sam and Rosie get married at Bag End.
Yep, there it is. 3020. Awesome. Okay, now I think that's...
Now that's it. Not a lot going on in May, but some pretty big dates, especially for our lad, Aragorn.
Yeah, our boy. And that reminds me, just as I link this real fast, that reminds me, if you haven't followed me on Twitter and Facebook, I also sometimes post some news or some updates, because I did that on May 1st for our boy Aragorn. So feel free to join us there. Links are in the description. All right, so now we'll move into our Q&A, and we just came off of the live stream on the main channel, so not a lot of questions here, but we did jump on Discord, as we do every time right before the podcast, and the Joker asked us 2 questions. So our first question here is, what were Tolkien's goals in his writings? So he mentioned how The Hobbit was kind of meant to be a children's story, and all of that. Now, so I'd say for the Silmarillion, right, that's definitely like world building, and
that's a lot of world building, a lot of like stuff that he wanted us to know about what he kind of imagined in the world. I feel like there's a lot of like his own like personal like not like religious but like spiritual beliefs,
exactly, yeah,
and going on in there, and basically kind of how I feel like it's kind of a window into his mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and it's also like how people perceive gods, and like how we would perceive angels or elves and Maiar and all these things. So I think the Silmarillion was kind of like his genesis, his world building, and that was something he was always interested in, right? I think it was like something like 1916, 1917, he wrote Beren and Luthien, but that was far before The Hobbit, and far before he even considered them in the same universe. So it was, providing that context. I think that was probably something, if not, his magnum opus, his desired magnum opus, that he really wanted to drive home. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to release it before his death. So with The Lord of the Rings, that's an interesting one. What was he seeking to accomplish, do you think, with The Lord of the Rings?
Well, I feel like with The Hobbit, he wrote in this universe, and he wrote this kid's tale,
mm-hmm.
and like it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy going. It's a lot of fun. Dragons, thieves, all that. And I think he just really fell in love with the world, like we all have, and he really wanted to expand a lot more. And I feel like The Lord of the Rings specifically is obviously his most well-known writing.
It's definitely, like, in terms of writing and style, it's more cohesive and a lot more applicable to modern readers, even if they do appreciate classic fantasy.
And I bet it was just a lot more fun for him to write.
Yeah, probably. Like, I feel like with the Silmarillion, he had to keep track of all these different houses and lineages, and I completely agree with you.
I think he wrote it for pleasure, but also he thought it was super cool.
Yeah.
And we all did too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think he was also trying to follow up The Hobbit and continue his exploration of who hobbits were, why they're important, but write an epic at the same time. Now, whether he intended for that to be his most well-known piece, it ultimately became his most well-known piece. Again, I mean, the characters are super relatable, even more so in certain ways than they are in the Silmarillion. It's just like, Thorin Turambar, he's out there sleeping with his sister that he didn't know was a sister. He's
unfortunate.
Unfortunate, super cursed, all that stuff. It's hard to for that kind of character to be applicable, but the Lord of the Rings, I think he meant to be his fantasy, his Beowulf, even though the Silmarillion may have been more where his heart was throughout his whole life. So, yeah, I think that was pretty much his goals there. And then the rest was world building, his notes, and how things could have ended, which you find in the history of Middle-earth. That was just like, all right, well, how are the different ways we can go about doing this particular part? I always think back to a part of Sauron Defeated, which is one of the volumes of the history of Middle-earth. And there's just this chapter talking about how he almost had like the Witch King come back to life and fight Sam on the crack of doom as Frodo almost destroyed the One Ring, all this stuff. Or how Frodo took the ring and became the Lord of the Rings now and the new Lord of the Shire and stuff. And just all these different ideas that he was playing with. And it's super cool. So, any final thoughts on that?
I honestly think that this wasn't like a lot of people kind of want to read into things and try to find a political message or especially today there's a lot of lenses on politics that's probably been throughout it, but I'm only here today, so I honestly feel like this was just a passion project for him. He loved writing, and he loved writing this story, and he just wanted to share it,
and it could have just been a continuation of The Hobbit, where it was like, his sons were growing up, and originally The Hobbit was just a children's story, but he wanted this story to be more applicable as a person grows up. So, and then for our final question also comes from the Joker. How did the Nazgul get Morgul blades? I'm not exactly sure. I would say it's corrupted metal, right? So you probably have these disenchantments in Mordor, this kind of curse. But
do they predate Mordor though?
Ooh, I don't think so, actually.
Are they in Angmar? They have to be in Angmar.
Ooh, yeah, but that would still be post.
Yeah, I know, but
post War of the Last Alliance. But yeah, they are in Angmar. But Morgul means sorcery, so it could have just come from, rather than from Sauron, it could have come from the Nazgul because they were sorcerers. They could have
made it themselves.
I'll go ahead and look up Morgul steel real fast. We got a lot of Minecraft mods. Let's see. Morgul steel, Lord of the Rings. Wiki. Oh my gosh. Oh no! Wait, Morgul is a Norwegian symphonic black metal band. See,
shocking no one.
Shocking. Yeah, for real. Okay. I think okay, that makes sense. So these were meant to kind of mirror the Westernesse blades, the Noldorian and Sindarin steel.
I don't think they were given to them by Sauron, and I don't think they definitely weren't given to them by Morgoth or any of those ancient evils. I think it probably makes the most sense if they made it themselves.
Yeah.
And they enchanted it or disenchanted it, used their dark wizard magic.
Yeah. It says according to the Wikipedia for Morgul blades, or for just Middle-earth weapons and armor. I'll link in the description. So the term Morgul appears in Old English, medical texts, and charms, and refers to illnesses of presumed supernatural origin. So, yeah, I feel like the Nazgul had a hand in making that. So, well, there you go. All right, well, that concludes our fast Q&A session. I mean, we just did
a podcast. A lot of you guys got your questions answered there.
Yeah, on the live stream, that was an hour and a half. So it was pretty much pure Q&A. So I feel like the main part of this will actually be in our news section. So that's a good way to transition. All right, so now we'll jump into our news section. And actually, there was quite a bit of news over the past month. And I would say the biggest one was the Tolkien film was released. All right, so we went into a little bit on our live stream, but what are your thoughts on the Tolkien film. What's your rating first?
Okay, film ratings. I'm so bad at film.
You're good.
I would definitely put it at, and for me, it's impossible to get 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
A 9 out of 10 is. I would probably put this for my personal enjoyment an 8 out of 10. If I was just rating this film on its merits against other films, probably more around like a 7. I'd kind of say it's a good biography, and it's really hard to make a good biography because you have to make it both factual and interesting, and those very, very frequently don't work together.
Yeah.
But this was special because I love Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
I love his story, and it's so much fun to watch this and go like, oh my gosh, that's a little bit of an inspiration right there, whether it's subconscious or not. Like, I really loved it. I had a lot of fun doing it. I thought it was a really cute film.
So do you think, for you, did the tropes of the biopic genre kind of drag it down a little bit, or was it something else that kind of dragged it down?
Basically, the problem for me was that the problems with the film with me were they didn't talk about his faith very much. There was some imagery and some powerful stuff like that, but I really wish that we would have seen him talk about it more. Yeah,
okay, that's fair.
The other thing was I just felt like it went really fast in the middle to try to get through.
Yeah, it
started off really fast as well. It light speeded through his like super early.
When he was just a kid.
Are we spoiling the review?
Oh yeah. Sorry, spoiler alert if you haven't seen Tolkien yet.
So in the first scene, he's playing with friends, and that's super cute. And then you meet his mom, and his mom is like super nice woman, but clearly their father has died. Mm-hmm. The next scene, his mom dies.
Yeah, that's true. That was super fast. I mean, something else too is that they put Edith, which I actually didn't have a problem with, but I know it's creative nonfiction. I know it,
creative fiction.
Creative fiction, yeah. I just know that like she wasn't in his life as much, like she didn't see him as often as they did.
They met at 16.
Yeah, but I was okay with them like hanging out, having these really romantic moments and stuff. And again, it depicts the woman behind the legend, like he wouldn't have been able to do it without her.
She was awesomely. Edith was amazingly written and absolutely stunningly cast.
Yeah.
I don't know her name.
Lily Collins.
Lily Collins performed as Edith Tolkien. It was amazing. She did a fantastic job. Hats off to her.
Nicholas Hoult
Nicholas Hoult was Tolkien, and I really liked him as well, but just Lily Collins really sold her whole character to me.
I feel that, yeah.
And for me, the film was really set into a lot of stages. There was like him in the war, which was we would always cut back to anytime anything bad happened.
I actually really liked that because I was afraid that they would just make the war part too dramatic, too drawn out, like a 20-minute sequence.
It was pretty much just like any time in his childhood something went wrong, we'd cut back to the war.
Yeah,
and I thought that was some good filmography.
Yeah, when he stood up. And straight up, there was Morgoth right there. I was like, "Oh my lord!"
I was really not looking forward to seeing all like the CGI, like
that's fair,
Lord of the Rings stuff. But then when it was actually happening, I was like, "That's so cool!"
That is so like the dragon that turned into the flamethrowers. I'm like,
and then there's even the one where he runs over the side because one of the soldiers tells him that his childhood friend had already gone over the top on the charge. Which, if you know anything about World War I. That's a death sentence.
Yeah, it is.
So he goes over anyway. I don't think that actually happened because he had trench fever. He was in bed.
He was, yeah. And like him being out there without his gear, yelling for his friend, I'm like, all right, he would be dead right now.
But I'm really glad the scene happened.
Yeah.
Because he gets over and you can see in the shadows, you have to look for them. You can see Sauron's crown in the background. You can see these evil shadows like just wisping away. And then there are these two horsemen.
Oh, I'm trying to remember back. Oh, yeah. That fought each other. One on the light steed, one on the dark steed.
One on the light steed, one on the dark steed. They reoccurred every single time we went back to the war. Yeah. They appeared again. So
I don't know if they were stand-ins, like just symbols for elves, men.
I don't think they have rights enough to show character, like show Aragorn. But I think that that's supposed to be Aragorn and the Witch King.
Ooh,
I don't know for sure though.
See,
or it could just be like heroes and evils.
Yeah, well, and it was interesting when I was watching the film and they did the dragon part with the flamethrowers. I'm like, oh, that is Dagor or Bragollach. That's the Battle of the Sudden Flame, where Morgoth broke forth from Angband and killed a ton of elves and men. And that was where Glaurung was originally kind of there. Yeah, I don't know if the rider was supposed to be Fingolfin versus Morgoth or what, but yeah, it was definitely really good. Like, it was a really good symbol. And even if you took a second and like looked at all of the writings and drawings on his wall,
that was another thing that I really liked was they never flat out like tried to sell it like this is the guy that wrote Lord of the Rings. Like,
yeah.
They very much made it about his own life and his own experiences. Yet every time you're in his room, you can see there's dwarvish runes, there's spiders, there's like, and he's not an illustrator, so they don't look all that awesome.
Yeah, they're not,
but they look good.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I was just looking up some. I think for my last video. I can't even remember what my last video was.
Your last video, I believe it was...
the reading order.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking up, like, Tolkien's illustrations where you might find them. And apparently he thought he was a pretty bad illustrator. He thought he was a bad artist. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, like, you're not... like, it's not...
It wasn't super realistic.
Yeah, sure. But it was incredible. It was much better than I could draw and all that kind of stuff.
I just think that his friend who was the painter,
he
probably like,
he's like, that's cute. Yeah, that's cute. Yeah, for me the thing that kind of held it from a 10, because for me it's possible to get a 10 because if it accomplishes what it sets out to do and even goes a little further, right, and really makes you feel something, for me that's kind of a 10. But for me, it was kind of held back by the tropes of the genre. It was a little bit like, okay, right? He wouldn't run out into war. He wouldn't do some of these things.
Did you catch the name of the soldier that was following him around?
Oh no, what?
This guy's name was Sam.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay. I think I remember that actually. Yeah. That's right. Everybody needs their Sam. Yeah. That works. That works for me. But if it was like. I was super afraid going into the movie. Yeah, like the dramatization of the war. I was afraid he was going to fight a soldier on the other, like, opposing side, like named Smaug.
He never grabbed a weapon.
True. I like that. Yeah. But if he fought like a soldier named Smaug, that was like German, I was going to like lose it.
Yeah, but, I thought it was very respectful.
Yeah, me too.
I still get why the Tolkien estate had to come out and be like, we don't endorse this movie. Because
if it fails, if it does something wrong, it's they don't want that. And I think that just reminds me, like, I think one of Tolkien's descendants was in a Game of Thrones episode. I don't remember which.
No idea. I've never heard about it.
It just sparked something for me, but Tolkien's descendant was totally in Game of Thrones.
What you're Googling right now is just going to come up with, like, argues back and forth.
Yeah, that's fair. Tolkien descendant? I don't even know. Dang. Okay, yeah, I can't find it. I just remember seeing a picture, and it may have been from a while ago, but it just, that's sparked. If you guys want to look into that, like, try to... I think he posted a picture on Facebook about it, and his Facebook picture is him on the Iron Throne. I'm like, that's meta. Cool. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But anyway, back to the film. Like, I thought it was pretty good. Or really good for what it set out to do. You know, it didn't go outside of its genre tropes enough to really blow me away. But I don't think biopics are supposed to, right? No. They're gonna just.
I think it teaches you a lot about the character.
Yeah.
It really puts, like, you can read his biography on Wikipedia all you want, but this really puts it to life and makes it a lot more interesting. I really enjoy it a lot more. I really love the dynamic between him and his
His boys?
His childhood friends.
Oh,
as
yeah,
opposed
okay.
to like his adulthood friends.
Yeah.
I wish they did talk about. I talked about this on the live stream a bit. I really wish that they did talk about the Inklings and his like writing friends, as he was like an accomplished like professor.
Yeah,
like, he had a lot of friends like that. But that wasn't where the film setting took place. The film setting was from basically his mother's death of type 1 diabetes rib.
Yeah.
To his marriage.
Yeah.
And then a little bit after that, but.
Yeah, and how it ended with him introducing the
really
Hobbit
cute.
and
the last word of the movie is him saying Hobbit, and I thought that was awesome.
It's so good. That was so good. I mean, they did leave room for a sequel, which is kind of cool.
They did leave room for a sequel. I don't think they're going to.
Yeah.
I think they very much just leave that up for interpretation. I don't know how the film did in the box office. It doesn't look like it was that much of a budget. Well,
so you said you saw it last night.
So it's come out. It came out how many weeks ago?
It was like May 10th or something. May 7th.
It's been, I think, like a week or two.
Yeah, May 9th,
it's been almost 2 weeks since the movie came out. I saw it on a Tuesday night at 10:15 p.m. And I was the only person in my theater.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that speaks to the performance of the film. Although I don't think it's not really a film that was supposed to draw that much audience.
Yeah.
I'm glad I saw it. I'm super, super happy with how it was. So yeah, I'm really confident that this was a good film that I'd stand behind.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. Some of the trailers made me a little worried that they were going to dramatize.
The second trailer was all like war shots.
Yeah, I was like, uh-oh. But no, it was super respectful. So yeah, I mean, I would stick with my, a couple weeks later after reviewing, I'd stick with my 9 out of 10. It was really good. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, you should go out and see it while it's still in theaters or wait for it on a platform. It's not going to be that expensive if you go out and see it in theaters right now. So. Yeah. All right, so moving on now in our news. This one came out like right, I think the day after our last podcast. Brie Larson visits the Tolkien exhibit.
This was before I had seen Endgame.
Yes, this was before anyone had seen Endgame, and I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, on her Instagram, it just shows her looking at Tolkien art, and I don't know, that was really good PR for her. I just think that she's really come out and like tried to tell like the rest of the world that she is also a nerd. Yeah. Well, she's not been getting the best press recently since like March, but I feel like maybe that was in her favor. Showing her nerdy side, her Tolkien side. I liked it. I like that. That was pretty cool. Next piece of news: Sharon Tal Yiguato. Yiguato, I think. She was seeing the Lord of the Rings show, overseeing the Lord of the Rings show, and on Amazon, and she left. So she left in the last month. I don't know exactly what that says about all this. Let's see. She took over in 2017. She was responsible, for kind of putting together the pitch to make a Lord of the Rings show. It says this. Can you go up? Yeah. Looks like it was a clean, good leave or exit though. But let's see. They don't talk about the series any, so I don't think that it has a lot to do with it. But she did say, it does say here, serving as the lead executive, she secured the rights to the highly competitive property and crafted the pitch to the Tolkien estate, as well as leading creative strategy on the show and hiring the writers J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. The streamer issued a multi-season production commitment for a series based on the fantasy epics back in November 2017. So she was kind of responsible for putting this in place. And she served on other shows and stuff. So I'm not exactly sure what that says. I just hope we didn't lose a lot of passion with her. When I looked at it, she secured rights for Wheel of Time as well. So I think she's kind of big into the fantasy like verse. And we don't, obviously it's not public why. I don't think it's because the show's bad. Yeah. All right, hold on anyway. Yeah. Because I feel like if it was, then
she would have made a bigger deal about it. Unless she signed some kind of NDR.
That's fair. Because I only heard about it on like Twitter from the OneRing.net. I think it wasn't bad, but coming off of that, sorry, real fast here, we have a Game of Thrones producer, the third head of Game of Thrones.
Besides D&D.
Yeah, not D&D. They're gonna go work on Star Wars, but we have let's see, what's his name, Brian Cogman. To going from Game of Thrones to the Amazon.
Didn't Brian Cogman wrote the second episode of season 8? Spoiler.
Yeah, that one was
Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I really liked that one.
That was good.
I loved that episode. It had the most character finals that you can make.
Yeah. That's true. That wasn't bad. And honestly, a lot of people, we mentioned that in our live stream too. A lot of people said he's not to blame for the series kind of. Not landing.
Every episode in season 8 was written by D&D except for number 2, which was the Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I don't know about season 7, but there's a reason that these two guys got the big job at Disney, and it's because they were in charge of everything that's happened all the writing since they lost the thing, and it worked for a while. Yeah. But now everyone's really mad at them. So.
Yeah, but Brian Cogman, he's kind of gone under the hate lens. Like people aren't looking at him for the failure.
Yeah, he doesn't show up in that after the episode, trying to explain all the things that didn't land.
We're gonna dive into Game of Thrones real fast. You watch those every time? Because I do, but it does feel like they're trying to
I watch them because I love seeing I love the Game of Thrones content.
Yeah.
Even though it's really disappointing, it's still fun.
Yeah.
So I watch them. I watch the previews. I know there's people that don't even watch the previews before each episode for the spoilers.
Wow, that's crazy.
I watch everything there at the end.
Me too.
It got so pretentious.
It did. Well, I just love that it's them trying to explain and no, wait, this is why this happened. It's Dany kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. It's did she or did you guys? It's it's just funny. I kind of hope they don't do that with the Amazon Lord of the Rings series. So Elrond kind of forgot about Celebrimbor. No, I don't.
The good news is that the source material for the Lord of the Rings Second Age is it's got a beginning, middle and an ending, and they can fill in some stuff in the middle.
Yeah, true. Very true. Everybody's worried that it's going to be the next Game of Thrones, that you're going to have obscure amounts of sex or whatever.
I don't think any of that's going to happen.
Me neither.
It's not HBO's known for their sexual content. This isn't HBO. Amazon is a little bit tamer, and I think honestly that craze has kind of died down a bit. There was definitely a point maybe 5 or 6 years ago where sex in TV had never been seen before, so everyone was super on it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and it's such an American thing, right? Sex in shows versus it's kind of odd. The paradigm shift when you go into American television, it's sex, that's fine apparently, but violence, it's
usually pretty.
Oh wait, sorry, I have that backwards.
You
usually, yeah, violence is usually fine on American television. We can see people get beheaded and all that kind of stuff. We're okay, but then sex, we get all we're prudes about it. But then
it's the other way around.
It's everybody else is open to sexuality and all that stuff, but the violence is not okay. Yeah. So that's the thing. Game of Thrones was really meant foremost to appeal to an American audience, I would imagine. So they probably had both sex and gratuitous violence, an insane amount of violence. But Amazon's probably going to want to go more international, so it's going to be more tame, and it should be. I
hope it's just better written.
Yeah, yeah, true. So next piece here. Apparently, there's a new subterranean fish that was just named after Gollum. I thought that was kind of cool.
I love this kind of stuff.
Me too. It's super cool. So yeah, new fish discovered. Subterranean snakehead has been named after Gollum.
What's its name?
Let's see. Wait, what do you mean?
The scientific name.
Oh, let's see if that's.
It's got to be in there.
Oh yeah, okay. The new species named.
So the genus is a fish that I can't pronounce, but the species name is Gollum.
Yeah, and Makana. Yeah, so this is a new, first known species of subterranean snakehead.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and okay, did you know? So the moon Titan around
Jupiter.
Yeah, around Jupiter. Is it Jupiter or Saturn?
Now I'm doubting myself. I don't know.
Anyway,
look it up.
Yeah, we're gonna look that up real fast.
I think Enceladus is Saturn, so I think Titan is Jupiter.
Titan moon, largest moon of Saturn. All right,
Yeah.
so Titan, all of its mountains are named after Lord of the Rings mountains.
That shocks me not at all.
I didn't know that until like this month though. I was like, what? So it's not news, but it's news to me. Like there's like Mount Dolmed from like the Silmarillion. Like they got Silmarillion names. They got Lord of the Rings.
Well, when you are a scientist and you work at NASA and you finally get the ability to look at a moon that's hundreds of thousands of kilometers away,
yeah,
you can name stuff whatever you want, and there's a lot of stuff to name.
Though I do like this that this is the same place that Thanos is from in Avengers.
No, it's not.
Wait, it's not?
It's Titan, another planet in another system.
Oh,
Same name.
I was gonna say that would be cool.
It's not the moon of Saturn.
Titan's like most planets. It has Lord of the Rings mountain names. Oh my gosh. Anyway, thought that was cool. Something else we saw this month was a fellow YouTuber Zorpazorp created a Pelennor Fields gaming board with. I think it took him a really long time, but it's 48.
So large.
It's 48 square feet. In a beast of a board, he says, and yeah, it's got like Dead Mamakill. It's got the walls of Minas Tirith. It's even got some fire at the back.
Like little effects, yeah, with the smoke machine underneath.
Yeah, there you go. And this is super cool.
This is just like an outer ring of Gondor. It looks like.
Yeah,
like the main walls.
Yeah, true. So it's a part of the Battle of the Pelennor Fields. Put a lot of time into it. I think a couple months at least. And there's so much detail here. So. I gave his video. I put it in the description. Just go ahead and check it out and send him some love.
It looks super cool.
It does. It's really cool. So, and then our final piece of news here is George R. R. Martin visits the Tolkien Premiere. Some people got on me for saying Tolkien wrong, and says Gandalf could beat Dumbledore.
Easy.
Quote.
GG no read.
Quote. He says Gandalf could kick Dumbledore's ass, but okay. I mean,
this is a nerd.
Yeah, this is your boy. And George R. R. Martin, for those of you who don't know, he's the author of A Song of Ice and Fire, which Game of Thrones, the TV show, is based off of. And
Dumbledore is the head wizard from Harry Potter, if you don't know that.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool. So I linked him at the Tolkien Premiere. He's talking about how Tolkien inspired him and all that kind of stuff. And
I'm really glad he went to the premiere.
Me too. He's the quintessential Tolkien fan. Yeah. And he even says like
he doesn't agree with Tolkien on everything.
Yeah.
George R. R. Martin's got a lot of death, a lot of sadness, a lot of the not like believing in the will of men.
True. And he does change some things, but I think he proclaims that Tolkien will always be the best fantasy writer. And even though he is like Martin's a fantasy writer, and I just think that's so humble.
Yeah, I mean Martin wrote a lot of stuff, and I'm really glad that he can look up to J.R.R. Tolkien the way that we still do, even though his writing's so different. Yeah,
but it is so revered. It's so good, but it's just it's very, very different. So he's even said like if he were to live in Westeros or Middle Earth, he would choose Middle Earth.
That was a question on a live stream that we answered.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, Middle Earth by far.
No one wants to live in Westeros.
Yeah, you get born there, you die, or something else like worse happens to you.
Ice zombies, bro. Come on.
And I mean, that's all the news I could gather for this month. But if there's anything else, let me know in the comments below, or on Patreon or Discord. And so. It's a smaller podcast this month, but that brings us really to the end. Do you have any final thoughts?
Not really. Thank you guys so much for supporting. Unfortunately, I will not be able to record with Yoisten for the next 2 podcasts, probably.
Yeah, June and July.
June and July, I have a class that I have to attend in... not in an internet region.
Yeah.
So.
He out there in the wilderness. If you see some guy like running around like Gandalf or like in a ranger hood, that's Ryan.
It's no. So unfortunately, there will still be a podcast.
Yeah, so I'll still do monthly podcasts the next couple months here, while Royan's gone, but it'll just be me kind of ranting out here, and I hope you guys enjoy that too. I'll be taking more of your questions, doing some news, doing this month in Middle Earth, because we do want to see that through. August was the first month that we did this month in Middle Earth. We're gonna see it to the end.
Is this the year since the first podcast?
And yeah, I remember this time last year, probably like tomorrow, I think, something actually, like that was our first day on Patreon, and then we released our first podcast soon after. So
it was like a week or something. So yeah. I think May was the first podcast month. So if you guys have been listening since then, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all.
It really does mean a lot, and it's super fun to talk about this.
Yeah. We look forward to it every month, and I hope you guys do too. So, yeah, and we're gonna try, after we do the full this month in Middle Earth, we'll keep doing podcast-ish content. I was talking to my friend Red Team Review, who does Game of Thrones content. He was saying that we should do shorter but more in-depth segments recommended by you guys. So we go into whatever it is, like a chapter in a book. We take a look at a specific character for like 20-30 minutes. We just delve right into that. Or we could keep doing podcasts every month and look at the news. Whatever you guys want, just let us know. But yeah, there might be some changes coming here, but we'll keep you guys updated. We'll keep doing the monthly updates, the monthly content. So thank you guys so much, right? Thank you for your patronage, and thank you all for joining us on this adventure. Until the next one, my great friends.